In this lesson today, we're going to talk about solving equations with variables on both sides. And as you're going through the video, remember at any point you can pause it, write down what you're trying to write down. You can go back and rewind it to re-listen to something. And if you have a question that you think of along the way and I can't get to you right away to help answer it, you can write down your questions in this column right here. Okay? So the first thing we're going to talk about is I want to go through our steps to solving equations. And I have our don't call me after midnight letters. So remember, you can continue to use our little pink, I have it right here, our pink little iPhone to help you remember. And so let's go through and remind ourselves. So the D, remember, stands for distribute. Now, we talked about that we're not using this step this year, but we wanted to go ahead and say it. Hopefully you remember then that C stands for combine like terms. Remember, like terms are on the same side. They're on the same side of the equal sign, and we combine them by adding or subtracting. Okay? The M, this is a new step that we're adding in today. The M stands for move the variables. Move the variables to the same side. We're moving our variables to the same side of the equal sign. We also do this by adding or subtracting, and you'll see in a minute how we do that. The A, remember, stands for add or subtract the constant. Remember, the constant term is the term without the variable. And then our last step is always to multiply or divide by the coefficient. Now, as you take these notes today, if you want to abbreviate some words, that's great. If you want to use symbols, that's great too. Okay, so let's make sure we have all of our steps written down. Really important. Okay, so let's look at the first example. I'm going to start by drawing my line through the equal sign. Really important because we start losing our sides if we're not careful. We don't have to distribute. Let's check for like terms. Okay, I don't have any like terms on the left. I don't have any like terms on the right. Okay, so check. So our next step is to move our variables to the same side. So what I want you to see is that we have a 9x on the left and a 6x on the right. And I'm going to suggest that it's usually easiest to always move our variables to the left. You don't have to do that, but it's usually easiest. Since this is we're going to do it by adding or subtracting. Since this is a positive 6x, I'm going to write minus 6x on both sides. Okay? By doing that, it cancels out our 6x on the right. Here, 9x minus 6x is 3x. And now I'm going to write the rest of my equation. So I still have plus 4 equals, and notice this has a minus or negative sign in front of it, so I'm going to write negative 11. Now, do you notice you're down to just a regular two-step equation now? Super easy. Our next step is to add or subtract the constant. Remember, we're trying to get x by itself. Our constant is 4. This is plus 4, so I'm going to write minus 4. Okay, created my zero pair, so now I have 3x equals, now be really careful, pay attention to your integer rules, this would be negative 15. And then our last step, multiply or divide by the coefficient. Our coefficient is 3, so when I divide by 3, I get x equals negative 5, and that is my solution. Make sure you have all of those steps down before you look on to the next problem. Okay, let's look at example number 2 together. Again, I'm going to draw a line down through the equal sign. We don't need to distribute. Okay, second is combine like terms. So let's look at the left side. Do we have some like terms here? Hopefully you're thinking yes. We have 7c plus 4c, which would make 11c. And then remember we have minus 4 equals 9c minus 11. We didn't have any like terms on the right. Okay, now we're on to our m. Move our variables to the same side by adding or subtracting. So we've got 11c and we've got 9c. This is a positive 9c. So once again, I'm going to say minus 9c. If this was negative 9, then we would add, but it's not. Okay, my variables cancel out. 11c minus 9c is 2c. Write what we have left. Negative 4 minus 4 equals, notice here again we have a negative or 11. Okay. Our next step is to add or subtract the constant, which would be our minus 4. So I'm going to add 4 to both sides. Okay. That leaves me with 2c equals, now this is where your calculators might be helpful. Double check your integers. This is negative 11 plus 4, which is negative 7. And then our last step is to divide by 2. Now don't panic. You have your calculator. You can type in negative 7 divided by 2, and it will give you negative 3.5. Remember, you might have to hit Control Enter when you put that into the calculator to change it to its decimal. Okay, I want to show you one more example. Okay, draw your line down the center. Okay, now I suggest, so let me go through the steps. Distribute, check. Combine like terms. Okay, I don't have anything over here to combine. Nothing on the right to combine. The next one is move the variables to the same side. Now we can still move the 2a over to the left. That definitely makes it a lot easier. But I want to show you maybe a little bit different. We could move our variables to the right. And what I want you to see here is that this is a negative 8a. So to move it, to cancel it out, to make it 0, I would add 8a. Okay, that's going to cancel out. That leaves us with 32 equals 10a. And then our last step would be to divide by 10. Okay, so again, you may be kind of freaked out a little bit by that, but you have your calculators to help you with it. Type it into your calculator, 32 divided by 10, hit Control Enter, and you should get 3.2. Okay, so you have 3 examples now to help use as a model for the equations below. And so what I want you to do is to glue your notes into your notebook, and then I want you to try the next 4 problems on your own and see what you can do.